That's a great segue to the next question. Philadelphia oftentimes is looked at as being the hog of state resources. Can you just talk about your theory on regionalism and how important or not important it is in your philosophy?
Well, I think regionalism is extremely important. For example, the convention center is extremely important. Um, Mass transit SEPTA is extremely important. I think when you look at healthcare, that is extremely important. Three examples. One, on the convention center has a great deal to do with tourism. We talked about the Olympics coming to the Philadelphia area, and it would not have been possible to have all of the venues in the city of Philadelphia. So that would have required a sense of leadership. Mass transit, which is extremely important to the growth and the development of our economy, cannot be viewed as only a Philadelphia issue. It has to be viewed from a regional standpoint. But there's a direct connection between mass transit and the growth of tourism and hospitality, because it's very important to have a mass transit system which allows our industry to really grow. In healthcare, we have some of the best um, schools, teaching colleges, and universities in the medical area right here in this area. We have some of the greatest pharmaceutical companies right in this particular area. And I think we need to continue to build on, the aspect of healthcare that is so very important to all of our constituents. So the three areas are tourism that I mentioned to you, and hospitality, um, that is so great. The aspect of healthcare is something that I think is extremely important in this area. So those are just some examples. And mass transit, what I also say, are important of sort of my philosophy about the importance of regionalism.
Again, another segue from your previous answer. As you know, the healthcare centers in Philadelphia are understaffed. What are your positions to? What are your plans to make these centers fully accessible to our citizens?
You're correct. My colleague, Councilwoman Marion Taskell, was the first one to raise this particular issue about the needs of dealing with the health centers. And she, my understanding, thought she had some kind of arrangement with the mayor about funding, and my understanding that funding didn't come through. What I've basically said is that we need to try to figure out how can we align our healthcare system with the governor's statewide, what you call Pennsylvania prescription plan, in terms of healthcare. I mean, because we should look at how that can match up with the state first. Secondly, I talked about the idea of partnership with the teacher colleges in terms of providing the necessary support we need to our health centers. And last but not least is obviously trying to figure out if there's dollars available in the budget. But those are the three things. First, plug it in, work it out, try to work something out with the governor, looking at the teaching college, and third, see if there's resources available in the city budget.
Joanne wants to know if you can tell us a little bit about yourself personally. Favorite foods, movies, hobbies, boxes
Movies,
or
I have a hard
briefs.
time spelling movie. I haven't been to one in a while. No, I think the last one I went to see was Tyler Perry, Daddy's Little Girl, and that was a fundraiser. So unfortunately, I haven't been to too many movies lately, but I do love movies. I mean, from um, movies that are action-packed movies, movies like Gladiator is a movie that I thought a lot of, and what Gladiator was about. I love to read. I love to read probably a lot of policy books that basically I read. One of the books that I'm reading is The Defining Moment, written about Franklin Delano Roosevelt in terms of his presidency. I love reading newspapers, all kinds of newspapers, Daily News, Philadelphia Tribune, the New York Times, our paper. Favorite restaurants, Ogan's Grill is a favorite restaurant that I love to go to, Ogan's Grill. I'm a little biased because it's right there in the neighborhood. I used to, a lot, I don't have as much time, I used to get over to Manayunk and up in Chestnut Hill. Chestnut Hill Grill is another restaurant that I basically go to. Lately, since I'm in Center City, I've been getting to a lot of the Center City restaurants right here in right in the heart of the city. But basically, I'm kind of out there working all the time, so I don't get as much time. So I do enjoy movies. I enjoy reading. Probably with as much free time as I get today, I try to rest as much as it's possible. But I'm out there. I love sporting events, basketball, football, baseball, looking at those particularly activities that take place. And I got a little small group of friends at times to get together and we eat some pizza and do some of the kind of things and talk about solving the problems of the world. So I tell people, I do very ordinary things as be. If you want to know, Joanne, my favorite supermarket is fresh food, super fresh up in Chestnut Hill. You can usually see me there once a day. I'm up there at that supermarket.
Dwight, Stelly asked, what would be your plan for improving quality public education here in Philadelphia?
Well, Stelly, one thing I'm going to say first, if you want to check the most extensive aspect, check my website, evans.com for mayor. I talk about four basic things. First thing is I talk about preschool, the importance of making the investment in preschool. The second aspect I talk about is class size reduction, that we should ultimately try to get the numbers down into the teens. Then I talk about modernization of schools. And then last but not least, I talk about trying to affect the dropout rate. We need to do something to affect the dropout rate. Those are the four things that I think are essential. But to move Philadelphia forward, the education system is extremely important to moving this city forward because people follow jobs and jobs follow people. And I think those four things I mentioned to you are extremely essential, particularly the part about preschool, kindergarten, early intervention. That aspect is because you want to have children be in position by the time they're third grade, they must be able to read. That is essential as we're going to move kids forward.
The next question is from Nancy. She asked, what is your plan to stay accessible to constituents if elected mayor?
Well, Nancy, this is one example of contact that I have to admit to you, I'm kind of adapted to this Webchat now. I like doing this right here. I'm the only candidate running for mayor where we actually are doing these Webchats. So one, this is an example. I just finished having dinner in South Philly where I thought about having these ideas of having dinner at people's houses all throughout the city of Philadelphia. If you want to invite me for dinner, make sure you email me. I'll be more than glad to come by your house and you invite a few neighbors over and we can have these dinners. I will talk about some form of constituent services where you get the chance to come meet and come talk to me. So I mentioned to you through the web chat, I mentioned to you the dinner chats that I've started around the city of Philadelphia. And then I mentioned to you the part about I will be doing like kind of constituent hours around the city of Philadelphia.